Hey guys, what is going on? Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different here. We're going to be talking about some tips and basically how to help you get your first V2 rocket or your nuke, as you might want to refer to it as, in Vanguard in Season 1. We are going to be doing a little bit of a gameplay review here today of something that I did record this morning for a completely different video, and we ended up going very, very well here in terms of actually trying to get a nuke. I'm actually going to spoil it here for you. We didn't clutch it up, but actually, failure is the best way to learn from these things. We learn when we do fail, of course, and that is how we want to take a look at this here. Just while we do get into the gameplay review here, make sure you do hit that subscribe button with those notifications turned on. I do very much appreciate it, and it really does help me out. So, let's take a look at the class setup that we're going to be featuring in today's video. Now, the good thing about this particular class and this tip is that you really can get away with running whatever feels comfortable for you. This is basically how I would describe it. Essentially, you can use whatever weapon you feel most comfortable with. We were just trying to level up the BAR, and this is what we ended up coming to. You actually get the victory cannon as part of the battle pass thing, which is really, really nice. You can take a look at the armory here. You get a decent amount of attachments here, and then you can switch some of them out to make this class setup a little bit better for you here. In the muzzle slot, we do have the Mercury silencer. We do, of course, want that suppression, as well as being able to get that extra little bit of vertical recoil control, which is very, very nice, hitting as many shots as possible. The CGC 30-inch XL barrel does allow us to hit more shots as well with this thing, but I would definitely look at using like a Chariot 18-inch rapid barrel for an increase to our fire rate with the BAR. The slate reflector for a nice clear sight picture. The Chariot WR for the most amount of recoil control and accuracy here. We do have the M1930 Strife angle grip. Again, most of these attachments you do just get unlocked with this particular variant, which is actually very, very nice. But again, I'd probably go with the M1941 hand stop when we unlock that. The magazine, a very big one here, is the .50 BMG 30 round mag. This does give us a 2-shot kill, which is a very, very crucial part of this particular class setup. Ammo type, we do have lengthen with this variant, which does increase our bullet velocity by a massive 30%. We do have the leather grip in the grip slot for a nice boost to our aim down sight speed, but I'd probably go with like a fabric grip as well for more sprint to fire speed on top. In the proficiency, we do have sleight of hand, and then we do, of course, have the surplus kit. Again, this is just a class setup that I was leveling up, and the main takeaway here is that you can get nukes, you can get V2 rockets with really any class setup that you can feel comfortable with. Another important thing to keep in mind for going for those longer streaks, going for those V2 rockets, is actually your kill streaks here. Now, the choices you make in this particular slot actually can sort of boost you towards getting those longer streaks. We can start off with a spy plane, or I also like to start off with a counter spy plane as well. There is always a case to be made for denying enemy information being slightly more powerful than having your own information, plus somebody else is pretty likely to be running a standard UAV anyway, so you might as well run a counter spy plane. We also take the dogs here. I think this is another crucial one for going for those longer streaks, as they just a fantastic distraction here. They, of course, do not add anything to your actual sort of streak number. You do have to get 25 gun kills to get the streak, but of course, attack dogs are just such a fantastic distraction. People will often shoot them rather than shooting you. And then in the top one, we do have the local informants, which is an advanced UAV type kill streak, meaning we can see people on the minimap, we can see which direction they're facing, and this is when you do want to go as hard as possible, when you do have the information on the enemies. Alrighty, so the first part of this gameplay actually does start a little bit slow, and we do die a couple of times at the start here, but one of the most important things I actually wanted to talk about early on in this particular gameplay review is to find your spot. Now, what does that actually mean? Essentially, you have to find a position on these maps where you can just do your thing. You're typically not going to be interrupted by people. Like, we are moving towards my particular spot on sub-10s. Just a second here, you can see that it's sort of that direction over there. As you can see, you want to get as many easy kills as possible if you are trying to go for these longer nuke streaks. You also want to take out distractions like the little gnome fellas that are sitting around at the moment. This is pretty much the spot where we do spend a lot of this game. As I said, you want to clear out some distractions like the boxes, like the gnome fellas, the elves that are sitting around giggling everywhere. And really, you just want to find your spot on these maps where you can get as many easy kills as possible. Particularly not like that. That was not an easy kill there. Again, starts off a little slow here. We do die a couple of times, and then once we start getting into our kills, once we start building that initial streak, we go on an absolute rampage here. But again, on sub-pens, it's a little interesting here. Typically, I do only like to play in certain positions on this map. I don't like to typically play on the sort of low ground like we are in right now. I really do want to play towards where we were previously, as that is one of the more powerful positions on the map, as it really isn't too exposed. There's only like 2 or 3 different locations that you can get shot from. But what about this BAR class setup here, man? This thing is an absolute laser beam. It absolutely chunks people. It does like 68 damage per bullet. It's pretty much a permanent 2-shot kill. The only thing that does let this thing down a little bit is actually the aim down sight speed. It's actually relatively slow for an assault rifle. I think it's like just about 400 milliseconds, which again, that's really, really slow here. But again, as you can see, we are getting as many easy kills as possible. If you are looking to go on as many longer streaks, you want to get those V2s, you want to get those nukes, as many of them as you can. So far, I think I've only pulled off one in this game, but I've been very, very close a number of times here, particularly with this BAR class setup. I don't know what it is. I've not featured it in a video yet because it's just not really finished yet. But I mean, I've been doing absolutely amazingly with this, which is really, really strange here. I think this might be where we start to build our decent streak here. And again, we are just taking our time a little bit here, just trying to track people down, use the information that we do have from our spy plane, the teammate spy planes as well, and just move around the map in certain ways. Okay, maybe this wasn't the streak to start off with there. We do get taken out, which is a little unfortunate. But again, we are always looking for people to shoot at, always looking for a bit of an easy kill here, and that is what this particular position is about. Yeah, we can get that guy, but again, I'm a little worried about sort of going after him, as I do think he has a more powerful position than me. So it's good to know when to back off in particular certain situations, exactly like that there. And then you can go and work on getting more easy kills. Again, we do die a little bit here. Trust me, this gameplay does get good. I promise it eventually gets good, man. We start absolutely mowing people down. Just wait for it, trust me. So again, we are trying to get into our positions where we can do as much work as possible. This might be where it kicks off, maybe? But again, this is our spot here. This is where we can do a lot of work. There's the big long corridor that we can aim down and just absolutely chunk people. Again, we can see the boat, and we can see this spawn here. Like, you can see that those doors on the left-hand side, that is a spawn there most of the time, and you really do just chunk people. We do a little bit of ring around the rosy with this guy, just trying to get a kill, and then we see another enemy, and then it just keeps happening. Like, it's just a little bit messy there. But again, we are kicking off here. We're just trying to get this streak sorted. Again, we are really just looking for as many easy kills as possible. We want as many people as possible to come to us. That's how we get as many easy kills as we can. You don't typically want to expose yourself with as many angles as possible, which we are kind of doing here. But again, we are trying to limit where we can actually get shot from. That is why we have chosen this spot. This is, I think, where we start to build this streak here. We can just get as many easy kills as possible, especially if people don't actually know that we're here. Another particular good thing about this spot here is, as I said, there is that spawn there, but you know how there's that big window on this map as we are looking towards that way there? You can't get shot from that position in this spot here, which is actually one of the nice things about this map. As we move towards sort of the middle, we can sort of be opened up by that window there, which is not ideal, as you do get killed a lot of the time from that window. We are almost looking at just there at the top, the second story bit, the top bit. But because we are in this particular position here, you do want to spend a lot of your time sort of ring around the rosying this particular pillar, and you don't want to peek from the same spot more than once. Like, you do really just want to keep switching between these two spots. Maybe don't just do it sort of rhythmically like I'm doing, and then just peek one spot, and then the second spot, and then the next spot. We actually got a little bit lucky with a bit of a spawn trap here, which is very, very interesting. The enemies just started spawning exactly next to us. I'm not sure why that happened, but it is what it is. Here we managed to round up that kill. We're actually on a 14 here, which is going quite well. And it's at this stage you sort of start to think, maybe we can get this nuke here. We're actually not too far away from getting the V2 rocket, especially since we are on a 15 now, I believe. And we've just walked into our enemy intel. Like, we're going to have that advanced UAV up in the sky very, very soon, because the enemy, well, we actually already have one going right now, so we can use ours very, very soon. And once you do have that particular kill streak underway, like, you're getting those kills, man, you get that enemy intel, it's just ridiculously easy to just rack up a lot of kills here. We know we're not actually that exposed. We know we're fairly safe to peek out in a lot of these situations, sometimes depending on where the enemy spawns are. We know somebody's coming behind us because we do have that enemy intel. We can just wait for him to peek out here very slowly, just take a little damage. And it's, again, a little bit of a close one. But you can see in the top left on the minimap, we know people are spawning over there. Thank you very much to, of course, giving us the, what is it, forward intel. That's an insane perk in this game. Having the little diamonds appear on the minimap is just ridiculous. You know where every single person is. I mean, see, they just keep spawning back there, which this is why this is one of the best spots on this particular map, man. You can see we're just looking for as many easy kills as possible here. We can continue to fire into this doorway. We can continue to try and chunk at people with it. You probably should have died there. We're actually at 22. Again, the heart starts pumping a little bit. We're on the 23. It's happening here. We should be able to get this fairly easily. Again, we are still looking for as many easy kills as possible here. And then we don't actually get to clutch the nuke there, which is a little unfortunate. I feel like we could have done a little better there, because eventually we should have known that somebody was going to come that way. We probably should have just sort of pre-aimed. We're very sad here. We are very sad. We walk into the enemy spawn and we get taken out there. So how do we deal with that a little bit better? We're actually going to go back, and we're going to take it back a little bit to where we died. So about this spot here. So again, once you are sort of leading into that nuke there, we're on like 22 or 23 at this point. We probably should have backed off there just before we die. We probably should have just tried to sort of like not reveal ourselves as like easily. Maybe sort of playing in like this area is not ideal in this particular circumstance. As you can look at the minimap, the enemies appear to be on this side, but again, we do end up getting flanked by somebody who does sort of come up the ladder here, up the stairs, and then shoots us from the side. So how do we sort of avoid that? Once you get close to that like milestone, you get close to getting those 25 gun streaks, it's probably a good idea to play as defensively as possible. You do sort of want to limit the amount of times you are exposing yourself from different positions, and you typically only want to take gunfights in situations that you are pretty much guaranteed to win. You don't just want to be sort of swinging it out wide and just hoping you can reflex kill someone. I mean, it does work for certain people like God gamers. I mean, it'll work sometimes, but you are more likely to get shot from as many angles as possible if you do swing it wide. You try and get an easy kill on somebody who is a little bit exposed. It doesn't work sometimes and you end up dying. So when you're getting close to those sort of last couple of kills, that's where it really matters. You got to get that clutch gameplay going. You want to be trying to get as many easy kills as possible. That's the main point here. Easy kills are your friend going on those longer streaks. But there's also something to be said for not playing defensively here. If you are on 24 and you want to get that last kill, and you know you're about to get pushed by somebody, but they're going to have an advantage on you, if you play a little bit more aggressively, you try and rush them as fast as possible, you try and take them off guard, that can actually work there. You might end up sort of losing that streak anyway, even if you don't play aggressively. If you try and play aggressive, you at least have a chance at somebody who knows where you are. So that is another example of how you can sort of try and get that last little kill. You be very, very aggressive, or you be super defensive and wait for somebody to come to you. And typically you will end up getting that last little kill, because I mean, that last kill, your heart's thumping, your heart's pounding, you're sort of breathing a little bit. You're like, it's sweaty. It's how it is, man. That's just what it is. You know, you're getting close to that number and your hands get a little bit sweaty and it starts getting very, very real. So it's just important to take a breath, just take a little second to know exactly where you are, exactly where your next kill is going to be. Because the more uncertain you are, the more your hands will start to shake, and the more likely you are to start missing those shots in those very crucial moments here. So if we do take it back a little bit further, we can see that again, another easy kill does present itself, and that is our 16th kill. We can get the 18th one here very, very easily on the guy who just slow peeks us there. And again, we sort of start thinking about exactly where our next kills are going to come from. We see the enemies do spawn across there, and we think, yeah, we're in the money here. This is very good. As people more expose themselves, I mean, they're easy kills for the most part, and we want to spend a lot of time in this position. We know that guy is going to slow walk up there, which is, again, very, very important to just take him out as soon as possible, because when people just start coming towards us, that leaves us a little bit exposed there. And we probably shouldn't have left that guy. We probably should have been aware of exactly where that guy was going to be, because we did actually fire at him. And I think that's the guy who did end up killing us. That's the nice little flick. And again, if we kill this guy, we got to be aware that somebody else might come from that direction as well. It's very, very important to remember that we did actually have the counter spy plane in the sky, so we didn't have any vision. And that is probably what led to us getting killed there, which is a little unfortunate. But again, as we were saying at the start, not having information is probably more powerful than actually having information. Like, denying that enemy intel is probably more powerful than having information for yourself. So it's definitely worth running that counter spy plane over something like your regular spy plane. So I want to skip forward a little bit and continue talking about how you can find your spot in these maps. Again, we are trying to move towards the same spot that we did mention previously, because that's just like our power position. Like, that is where we want to find ourselves getting into most gunfights here, but we're being a little bit more careful here as we know there are enemies around this area. But once we do take control of this spot, it's very, very easy for us to almost go on another nuke streak here. I think we go on like another 10, 12, I think, just off the rip, like nothing really special happened. But again, you do want to find your positions and you want to get as many easy kills as possible. You typically only want to be sort of available to be shot from about 3 different angles and sort of finding your spot here. I mean, this is not too bad, but again, we are quite exposed from the left as well as behind us, which we do have to consider. But the enemies are spawning down that location and we get flanked. So it's not ideal to be in that sort of middle spot, as you do want to sort of be an end, like, you want to be on an end location, so there's not as many places that we can get shot from at the same time. So if we were to summarize everything that we did learn here today from this unsuccessful nuke attempt, which is very, very sad. Like, we were on a 24 and then we got flanked. That happens with the counter spy plane. It is what it is here. And again, that is a situation where we could have tried to be very aggressive here, but it probably would have been more beneficial for us to just sort of back off, play a little bit more defensively, just sort of take up the position at the back of the map and just wait for somebody to come to us rather than peeking out and try and get aggressive and try and get that kill sorted. But again, it's all sort of dependent on the situation that you are in. You can see, again, in this particular spot, this is a gameplay bit that we already showed previously. But again, we can get heaps of kills in this particular position. And again, it's all about finding these spots where you know you're not going to be shot by too many people at the same time. And again, I feel like this could have been the nuke, man. This could have been a very, very good one. This particular class that we are going to feature very, very soon in the video is super, super underrated, man. Not a lot of people talking about the BAR, but the fact that you can get a 2-shot kill with this thing, it means it is an absolute monster in this game. I love this thing. It is an awful lot of fun to use, and we actually did drop a V2. I think I can flash up the screenshot on the screen still, because we still have that probably. But again, if this did help you out at all, make sure you do hit that subscribe button with those notifications turned on. If this is something that is interesting to you, again, as I said, leave a like on the video, subscribe if you do want to see more of this. If you do want to see me review your gameplay, you can upload an unlisted YouTube video once you grab a recording, and I will take a look at it. If you do send it to me in like the comments or something like that, I'll eventually take a look at it, and we might be able to make a video out of it and try and help get more of you guys your first V2 rocket, because I only got mine like a couple of weeks ago. Like my first one was a couple of weeks ago. We got very, very close here today, and it was a little bit disappointing, but it is what it is here. So again, as I said, thank you very much for watching this one, and I hopefully will see you in the next video. Bye!